What if the next great leap in human evolution requires no physical movement at all? Imagine a world where a single, silent thought can pilot a drone, compose a symphony, or search the entirety of human knowledge in milliseconds. We are standing on the precipice of an era where the boundary between biological intelligence and artificial processing dissolves entirely. This is not the distant, speculative realm of science fiction. It is the immediate, rapidly accelerating reality of modern neuroscience, promising to fundamentally rewrite the relationship between humanity and the machines we build. At the heart of this revolution are brain-computer interfaces. A brain-computer interface establishes a direct communication pathway between the human brain and an external device, bypassing conventional motor control completely. Instead of relying on hands to type or vocal cords to speak, this technology intercepts the electrical impulses generated by your neurons and translates them into actionable digital commands. It is a profound structural shift in how humanity interacts with the digital world, turning the abstract nature of human intent into concrete, observable action. This focused exploration into the mind reveals an incredibly complex biological orchestra. The human brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons, and every time you think, feel, or move, millions of these cells fire in intricate patterns, creating a continuous symphony of microscopic electrical storms. Early neural implants relied on bulky, invasive arrays that could only capture a tiny fraction of this activity. Today, the ambition has scaled dramatically, with scientists developing high-resolution arrays capable of listening to thousands of individual neurons simultaneously to actually decode the fundamental language of human consciousness. Yet, the journey to seamlessly merge mind and machine is fraught with immense scientific and engineering challenges. The human brain is an incredibly hostile environment for foreign technology. It is a wet, warm, and constantly pulsing organ protected by a highly aggressive immune system. When a traditional rigid sensor is introduced, the brain immediately recognizes it as an invader. Microglia cells rush to the site, enveloping the device in dense scar tissue that eventually blocks all delicate electrical signals, rendering the implant useless. Overcoming this biological rejection requires achieving true biocompatibility. Biocompatibility refers to the ability of a foreign material to exist within the human body without provoking an immune response or causing tissue damage. Achieving this in the delicate, gelatinous tissues of the cerebral cortex is one of the most formidable hurdles in modern bioengineering. If the materials are too stiff, they slice through tissue as the brain pulses with every heartbeat, but if they are too soft, they cannot be precisely guided to their target neural networks. To solve this, researchers are fundamentally reimagining the architecture of the hardware. Companies like Neuralink are pushing the boundaries by developing ultra-flexible microscopic polymer threads. These threads are vastly thinner than a human hair, designed to float seamlessly within the brain's natural movement rather than resisting it. By utilizing advanced surgical robots to stitch these threads around delicate blood vessels with microscopic precision, innovators hope to bypass the brain's defensive mechanisms entirely, securing a long-term, high-fidelity connection. But physical integration is only half the battle. The sheer volume of data generated by thousands of firing neurons requires unprecedented advancements in microelectronics. Engineers must design ultra-low power chips capable of amplifying and digitizing these faint biological signals without generating excess heat. Even a 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature can cause permanent neurological damage. Furthermore, this massive stream of data demands incredibly high bandwidth to transmit complex commands wirelessly through the human skull in real time. Once that raw electrical data is safely extracted, it must actually mean something. This is where artificial intelligence steps in, utilizing a neural network to find patterns in the chaos. A neural network is a type of machine learning model inspired by the human brain itself, designed to recognize complex relationships within massive datasets. By feeding the recorded electrical impulses into these advanced algorithms, computers are learning to decode the specific neural signatures associated with distinct intentions, effectively translating the brain's raw data into a digital vocabulary. The translation process is nothing short of miraculous, yet it remains deeply complex. According to Dr. Krishna Shenoy, a pioneering neuroscientist at Stanford University, Decoding the brain is like trying to understand a massive roaring crowd by listening through a thick concrete wall. You might catch the rhythm and the volume, but parsing individual words requires extraordinary computational precision. The software must constantly adapt, learning the unique neurological dialect of every single user over time. As these decoding algorithms grow more sophisticated, the implications of this technology begin to shift from theoretical engineering to tangible human impact. We are moving past the foundational challenge of merely reading signals, entering a phase where those signals can directly restore lost human agency. The theoretical groundwork has been laid, and the focus is now turning toward profound, life-altering medical applications. For individuals trapped by severe neurological conditions or spinal cord injuries, these interfaces offer a lifeline of unprecedented potential. In these patients, the brain still perfectly generates the commands for movement, but the physical bridge to the limbs is broken. Clinical trials have already demonstrated paralyzed patients using their thoughts to move robotic arms, grasp coffee cups, and feed themselves. The technology essentially builds a digital bridge over severed physical connections, restoring a level of independence that was previously thought permanently lost. The restorative power extends far beyond physical movement. For those suffering from locked-in syndrome, where the mind remains perfectly intact but the body is completely paralyzed, the technology is unlocking the ability to communicate. Recent breakthroughs have allowed patients to type on virtual keyboards at conversational speeds simply by imagining the act of handwriting. The digital cursors respond to their mental commands, translating silent intentions into spoken words through text-to-speech synthesizers, breaking the silence of profound paralysis. However, as the fidelity of these interfaces improves, the narrative inevitably shifts from medical restoration to human enhancement. What happens when a technology designed to heal the broken is applied to the healthy? The future promises a paradigm where healthy individuals might electively undergo surgery to install these devices, seeking to radically upgrade their memory, processing speed, and ability to interface directly with cloud computing systems without a physical intermediary. This leap introduces the profound concept of cognitive augmentation. Cognitive augmentation refers to the use of technology to expand human intellect, memory, or sensory perception beyond our natural biological limits. This is where the ethical implications of the technology become incredibly dense and deeply concerning. If a person's brain is directly connected to the internet, where does the individual end and the network begin? The very boundaries of selfhood, agency, and personal identity could become fundamentally blurred. Furthermore, the intimate nature of this data raises unprecedented privacy concerns. We are no longer talking about tracking your search history or your physical location. We are talking about access to the raw, unfiltered electrical activity of your mind. If a corporation or a government can monitor the neural patterns that precede your conscious decisions, the very concept of cognitive liberty is at stake. The potential for neurological surveillance or even subtle algorithmic manipulation of human thought demands rigorous ethical frameworks before widespread adoption occurs. Leading bioethicists are sounding the alarm on these exact vulnerabilities. According to Dr. Nita Farahany from Duke University, humanity needs a radically new human rights framework that explicitly protects mental privacy and freedom of thought. Without strict global regulations, the commercialization of neural data could lead to a dystopian reality where our deepest intentions are commodified, analyzed, and sold to the highest bidder long before we even act upon them. Beyond privacy, there is the looming threat of a newly fractured society. If cognitive augmentation becomes a commercial reality, it will likely be incredibly expensive, accessible only to the ultra-wealthy. This risks creating a profound digital divide, fracturing humanity into two distinct tiers: the biologically natural and the technologically enhanced. The socioeconomic advantages of possessing an augmented brain capable of instant data retrieval and superior calculation would be insurmountable, permanently entrenching inequality on a biological level. These stark realities underscore the immense responsibility resting on the shoulders of today's innovators and policymakers. The engineering triumphs that allow us to decode thoughts are only the first steps on a much longer, far more complex path. The conversation is no longer just about whether we can build these sophisticated devices, but whether our societal frameworks, legal structures, and moral compasses are mature enough to handle them. Looking ahead, the integration of mind and machine seems not just possible, but historically inevitable. Just as humanity evolved alongside the invention of language, writing, and the internet, we are now preparing to evolve alongside direct neural integration. The brain, once an isolated fortress of thought, is slowly opening its gates to the vast expanse of the digital universe. It is a transition that will redefine the human experience, altering how we learn, how we communicate, and how we fundamentally understand consciousness itself. The deep science behind these interfaces has brought us to the edge of an awe-inspiring frontier. As researchers continue to refine the materials, train the algorithms, and navigate the moral labyrinth, they are actively writing the next chapter of human evolution. The silent, electrical whispers of the human mind are finally being given a powerful voice in the digital realm. The only question that remains is how wisely humanity will choose to listen.